What is up, Square Nation? Welcome back to No Counters, No Combos, and today we are bringing you the very heavily requested Broly Veggies deck that was utilized in our most recent Battle Chamber video, piloted by my teammate Kevin, of course. He went undefeated that night. He beat me in the finals. I was playing Mono Red Pan, which we're going to be doing the Pan deck profile as well, but I wanted to get this profile out as soon as possible. Shout out to Kevin for hooking me up with the list, and we're going to get right into it. So, obviously, you're playing the Broly leader. It's amazing. On the front side, its effect is when you attack, you can take a card out of your life, add it to hand, draw a card. So, it's similar to the Gogeta promo from the movie as well, from the actual Fusion Reborn movie. And, when you awaken, you can untap 2. But the backside is ridiculous. Auto once per turn, or activate main once per turn. You can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode, which is ridiculous. You can tap down any blockers. And then the other effect is you can take a life, add it to hand, and restand any of your cards. So you can restand your leader, you can restand a battle card, you can restand an energy, which is insane. It's the first leader of its kind that does that. And honestly, being able to restand a card, depending on the situation, is super strong. I mean, if you tap out and for some reason and you don't win, you can use his effect to untap one of your energies, giving you defense for the next turn. If you're trying to make a huge push for game, you can untap one of your big hitters and just go for game. Or if you want to just get greedy and just get more hand advantage, you can untap your leader and just continue to draw, because the draw effect on the leader attack is not once per turn. So you guys know what the leader does. It is Frieza Army, so you have access to Cold Bloodlust, and it is yellow, so you have access to Shigesh. So why not play Veggies with it, right? So let's get right into the deck. You can see that the first card there is the black card, Mira, Creator Absorbed. Shout out to Shenron's Lair real quick. We are using their online platform for deck building here. You know, Shenron Lair is our go-to for all these videos that we do here at No Counters, No Combos when it comes to deck building. So I did come across the unfortunate news that DBS Dex is down for a little bit. So if you guys are looking for an alternative, give Shenron's Lair a look, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Anyway, right back into it here. We have Mira, Creator Absorb. This card is bananas. It's an Overwhelm for 1 energy. You just need 4 cards in the drop. And when he comes out, he's a 30k swing. When he attacks, he gains plus 5k for each card in the warp. And he gains that buff for the duration of the turn. So if you're using your Broly leader and you restand Mira, he gains whatever he gains off of the first attack, added onto the second one. So let's say he's 30k base, and then he gains another 30k from the warp, so he's 60k. If you restand him and swing again, he'll gain another 30k, so he'll be a 90k swing. It's really ridiculous. It puts the whole Mira battering double strike combo, like, it makes it much more potent because you can hit multiple times. You don't have to rely on battering if your opponent's sitting at 2 life with no energy open for defense. It's just ridiculous. So obviously Mira is one of your main finishers. Then we have the new 1-drop Gohan from Clash of Fates. It's a pretty good card. It's a cantrip. It's a 1-drop draw card, so it replaces itself. It is green energy, but it does have the cool effect where if it's later in the game, you can tap 2 green energies, and you can give it plus 15k in crit. So he becomes a 20k crit swing for 2 energy, and he's pretty much already established on the board because he's a 1-drop. So he's going to replace himself and give you a late game threat. Also, it's free 5k combo power, and it's green energy, which is very important in this deck because you want to charge 2 green like all the time. Next, we're going into the engine starter, Super Saiyan Timur Kaba. It's a 2-drop, 2 green. Its auto is when you play this card, you can look at the top 10 cards of your deck, and then you can either play a Caulifla or add a Kale to your hand. So you guys know pretty much how Veggies works from the Ginyu days, but for those of you who are new to the channel or new to the Dragon Ball game in general, this Kaba allows you to put like 10 energy worth of cards on the board for 2 energy. It's pretty insane, and it's just very, very efficient, and it's very, very potent. And paired with the right leader, and if you open up really well, you can pretty much win like 90% of your games. The next card is Unstoppable Super Saiyan Caulifla. She's from She's an older card now at this point. I believe she was from set 3. But she's just a 2-drop 20k beater that comes in and takes a life. So she's kind of like your Bardock of the deck, but for 2 green energy. So you can play her for free off of the Kaba, or you can just hard cast her for 2 and then take a life. And she's a 20k swing, so it does put a lot of pressure. 20k is for our base attack is definitely a lot of pressure off of the battle phase. Then we have Hidden Awakening Kale, which is an oldie but a goodie. This was like our first entry for Veggies back in set 2. Hidden Awakening Kale is really good. She's a 4-drop 20k crit. When she attacks, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, you could draw a card. Or 5 or less cards. Yeah, if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, you can draw a card, so she's good with that. But also, when she comes out, you can KO one of your cards and then KO up to cost 5 on your opponent's board. But if you have Caulifla on the board, you don't have to KO your own battle cards. So it's a really good card. And then Kaba's other effect, which I forgot to mention, reduces cost of basically Cauliflas and Kales in your hand by 1. So he makes everyone 1 less. So Caulifla will be a 1-drop, Kale will be a 3-drop, so on and so forth. And the ability does stack. So if you have multiple Kabas on the board, he gets multiple energy reductions. The only thing is you don't have to pay specified cost. So that's one of the main reasons why he's so good. The next card we're going to get into, the red cards now. It's just a tricolor deck technically, but you're really only charging yellow and green. The next card is Dauntless Kale. She's a 2-drop 5k blocker that you can play for free if you have a Caulifla on board. But she's also a target that you can hit off of Kaba to add to your hand in case you need it. But she's just there for, so you can make it a little more consistent on your ratio so you don't whiff. The next card, which is one of the better ones in my opinion, is Sister Attack Kale. She's a 10-drop. She's a 2-drop 10k that when she attacks, if there's another Universe 6 on the board, she draws a card and gets plus 5k. So she's kind of like Nail, the green Nail with Bond 2. And you can play her for free. You can bring her in off of another card that we're going to get into very shortly. But just the veggie package in itself is very, very potent and very, very consistent if you have the right pieces. And it's very, my teammate Kevin has been playing Veggies for a very long time. He used to play Ginyu Veggies back in their format when they were dominating. And to see him back in the game now after taking a little bit of a break, it's nice to see him playing the deck that he's very comfortable with because he pilots it so well. So I hate losing to Veggies, but I'm glad that he's back playing the game. So we got 4 Sister Attack Hills, 2 Further Instruction Champa, 10k double strike. It's one of your win cons. You give something double strike for game for lethal. And then we have 3 Impeccable Super Saiyan Kaba. This card's really good because you can play it off of the next card we're going to talk about, which is another Caulifla. But essentially he's a 3-drop 15k attacker that he cannot be countered. So when you bring him out, you can't activate negates, you can't activate Mafuba, any of that stuff. You can't activate counter skills in response to his attack. So he can sneak in for some damage. If you slap a double strike Champa on him or you combo up with Shugesh in your super combos, you can make him pretty scary beefy for game. And then the next card, which is another engine starter, would be the Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla. She's a 4-drop 20k, but what's good about her is her effect is an auto. When she comes into play, you look at the top 7 for a Universe 6 Saiyan and put into play. So how the interaction works, essentially, is you play 2-drop Kaba, look at the top 10 to bring out Caulifla, shuffle your deck, then Caulifla looks at top 7 to bring out a Kale or another Kaba. So you're literally putting that much energy on board for just playing off of the Kaba. And she's a 20k swing in her own right, so she's really good. So you want to, like, in a perfect world, you want to go 2-drop Kaba into 4-drop Caulifla into 2-drop Kale, because you'll be able to put a lot of pressure on your opponent when you'll be replacing your resources with the other Kale that draws you a card. That's pretty much the Veggie engine. So we're going to get to some of the support cards. Kevin is playing 3 Bardock the Progenitor. It's not a bad 1-drop for yellow. You do need yellow sources to charge, but if your opponent is starving you or you're not drawing the cards you need, you could play Bardock for tempo swings and to get you to your awakening state much faster, because you want to get to your backside as soon as possible. By like turn 2, turn 3, you want to be on your backside because that side for Broly is just so much better than the front. So Bardock is another way of getting there. Plus, it's also good yellow energy, and it's also good pitch fodder for Nimbus and Battering, which we'll get into. Speaking of Flying Nimbus, that's the negate that we're playing in the deck. 3 Flying Nimbus, self-explanatory. Your Veggies are constantly going to be turned sideways, so your opponent's going to either have to clear the board or attack, the leader to try to kill you in one turn. So if you can stop their attacks, then you're going to just restand all your Veggies next turn and just completely put too much overwhelming pressure on them. 3 Bloodlust, because why not? It's a Frieza army leader, so you want to play Bloodlust because for 1 yellow you can negate pretty much any skill in the game except for Deflect. Then we have 2 Battering Laser because Mira Double Strike Champa Battering is a thing. It's just too good. That's basically your win con. Like if you have Mira Double Strike Champa and Battering in hand, you essentially just win the game. Like there's nothing your opponent can do about it. So it just becomes a huge win con. Next we have 2 Shugesh, 2 Jocko. It's a 2-2 split. You don't want to get too greedy with Shugesh because a lot of people are mainboarding Cronoa right now since Broly is so popular in the meta. So you definitely don't want to get shut down by a Cronoa. But Veggies is really good because Kaba is the one that tempos out all of the Veggies. And Shugesh is just kind of like an extra thing that you could do on the side. But if you get hit by a Cronoa, worst case scenario, Shugesh is still a 10k combo. And your Veggies are hitting for 20k base most of the time. So they're going to be 30ks with a Shugesh. Yeah, you can't bring a creature in off of his auto, but it doesn't really matter because you're still going to be doing enough damage to force your opponent to either take life or have to combo out of it. And then obviously Jocko is self-explanatory. When you're at 4 or less life, super combo 10k draw. Kevin did decide to play the 1 feature rare Vegeta and the 1 explosive Spirit Son Goku. So it's a 1-1 split. I kind of agree with this because Shugesh Kid Goku can kill anything but barrier. And then Shugesh Vegeta kills everything that's barrier, but not anything else. So it's a good split. Deadly Defenders can be a little bit of a pain to get over when you're swinging with such little guys. But worst case scenario, if you have a problem threat on board that you can't get rid of, you could just hardcast the Vegeta for 2, and then he kills something and untaps 1. So it's not a bad card. You can cheat it off of Shugesh. This deck is really built pretty well. I really wouldn't make any changes to it. I like the ratios, and I really wouldn't, mess with anything because it runs so well and it's piloted so well. But with that being said, that's pretty much the deck list. It's kind of cut and dry. There's not a lot of room for tech choices. I mean, I guess you can call the FR Vegeta a tech choice, but to each his own. But this is the build that Kevin's working with right now. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys like this build. What are some changes you might make? Also, let me know what future decks or videos you'd like to see on the channel. I'm always looking for feedback. I'm always looking for what the community wants to try to see on this channel for content, just to make sure that, we're not getting stale or drying anything up. So basically whatever you guys want to see, just let me know and I'll try to work on it as soon as I can. Shout out to my teammate Kevin. Thank you so much for letting me post this. And next time I'm not going to lose to you, bro. I guarantee you next time I will beat you because I know how to play around you now. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Be there or be squared.